On today's episode of Tuesday Talks with Opie, I talk with the talented Dante Payne. We dive into his career in musical theater and how redefining his purpose has given him more appreciation for life. Join us for today's conversation. And welcome to another episode of Tuesday Talks with Opie. Today, my guest is Dante Payne, who currently plays Simba at the Festival of the Lion King at Hong Kong. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
I'm so happy to have you here. I got connected with you through another guest of mine, Jocelyn Catley. Shout out to Jocelyn. And you are just from just looking at your page alone, I can see your passion for music and theater. And I'm just so inspired by the amount of work you put into it. And by the way, shout out to you on the cover of Your Power. That is, your voice is like butter. I want to spread it on everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you're doing such an amazing job. And again, thank you so much for being here with me.
The pleasure is all mine. I love connecting with other passionate people who know what they want and are tackling it and doing it.
Thank
you. I love that.
You. So let's get right into it. What inspired your love for music and theater?
Okay. Well, both of my parents, they're both very musically inclined, but it was more so, I think I fell in love with performing. I don't think it was just music, because music is the catalyst that I get to use on my daily basis. But for me, it's connecting with a large amount of people through such a genuine craft to me, which then makes that avenue so easily done. So I started, oh my gosh, I think I started harmonizing with the vacuum cleaner, like when I was a little kid. And my parents were like, what is he? How is he doing? Like, and it started very little things, and then old Jackson 5 albums and Stevie Wonder. So I was definitely raised in like that Motown kind of music. And then from there, it was just, I started working at 8. And from there, it was just kind of history. It was one thing after another. And it was just sort of like this world that I was in, but I never thought would be my career.
Right. So at 8 years old, you were already on a stage?
Yeah. So my mom had a dance school growing up. So I was on stage at like 5.
Oh, wow.
But then it morphed into more professional gigs because we got connected to a man named Walt Whitman and the Soul Children of Chicago. And through them, I traveled the world. I performed everywhere and sang everything. Sang with a lot of amazing artists, and a lot of that was really fun. But at the time, you're so young, you don't realize the gravity of what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. Until you get much older, and you're like, I did that? Wow.
So what was your first professional gig?
It was the Soul Children. So it was weird. I wouldn't necessarily call it professional, but I got a lot of professional experience through them.
Okay.
And I would say the first like professional gig was this McDonald's Corporation thing where I was a soloist. It was me and 3 other kids, and they let me sing my song, and I was like, here we go. And it was some like corporate sort of like rah-rah song, but it was, at the time, it was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And then fast forward about 10 years, I got my first professional gig singing in a theme park in Ohio.
Okay.
And that was just amazing. It was small time and nothing on the outside special, but the community of people that I was connected to made that job unparalleled in my career to this day. I consider most of the people that I worked with there my family to not, like, even now. I can call them anytime, and if I was in financial trouble, they'd help me out. If they called me and they were in financial trouble, I'd help them out. Obviously that's the deepest connection you can give to somebody. It's to be like, right. I'll give you money to help you out.
To be comfortable enough to, come up to some, talk about things that are really going
on.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I've had some tough times and tough conversations with many of them, and they've gotten me through it. So I would say that was my first professional gig, and that led to one thing, into another thing, another thing, another thing, another thing. So I'm just riding along at this point. I'm like, whatever happens, hey, I'll sign on contract. If it gives me money and gives me a cool life, I'm down.
So let's talk about your current professional gig that you're doing right now, which
Mhm.
is amazing. I'm a huge fan of The Lion King. Anyone that is very close to me knows. I mean, my social media handle used to be like Princess Nala. So I dressed up as Rafiki one Halloween. So I love The
Mhm.
Lion King. Tell me all about it. Like, how did you, how did you audition for it? How did you get involved in it?
Yeah.
And,
Well, to be honest, this is a very, like, again, I have very long stories, but I'll condense it. When I was in the Soul Children, I did an audition for young Simba, and this I didn't get the part, and it stressed my brain out so much. I'm like, why not? They wanted me, and they have just all these callbacks, and I flew to New York and did a fitting and did all this stuff, and then they just cut me, and I was like,
wow.
well, now I've got to get this part. Like, I've got to be Simba. So I kind of dropped the fervor for getting on Broadway, so to speak, and I kind of forgot about the whole thing until about my second year of college. I went to visit a friend who started working at Disney World, and I saw the Festival Lion King show in Orlando first, and I was like, this is it. This is my gateway back. It's not quite Simba. I can be this dude who sings the Simba songs, and it's not him, but you know what? I'll take it. So I watched the show and I started auditioning that spring. I auditioned then, I auditioned that summer, then I auditioned in the fall, and then I continued that trend for the next 3 years. And after several auditions, I think it was like 8 auditions, I said, I don't think this is working. And then I did a cruise ship contract that brought me here to Asia. And I saw the Festival of the Lion King show here. And by this crazy amount of luck, fate, destiny, God's plan, whatever you want to call it, I ended up here on an audition date on a random time that the ship was docked. And I said, I will take this ticket to ride. And so I got the audition, I went in, and she looked as shocked to see me as I was at the audition landed when it was. She's like, you're from Chicago? So yeah. She's like, you're just visiting Hong Kong? I'm like, I work on a boat. Long story, girl. But I'm here now and I'm gonna sing for you. I got the call back and she didn't hire me. And so I was like, all right, I am not giving up on my Disney dream. So after that contract, I quit the ship for a little bit and I was like, I need to go to Orlando. I've got a nice chunk of money. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to keep hacking at this. I'm going to try to get a show. So after being a bus driver at Disney for a short amount of time, I did get my first show. And that was Nemo the Musical. And I wasn't even contracted. I was just working some days and I was struggling the other days. And then I got Disney Junior. And then after that, I got Move It, Shake It, Mouse Can Dance It, and Guardians of the Galaxy almost back to back.
Wow.
So I got 4 shows within that very short span of time. So I was like, why not give me Lion King? It's the only show I want. And I had to sit down with the casting director and I was like, dude, what gives? I want this job. And he's like, listen, we are stacked with enough people here, but have you ever auditioned for Hong Kong Disneyland? And I said, I have. And at this point, I think I auditioned 3 times. So I was like, he's like, well, we have another audition coming up soon. I think it would help you to go. And I said, okay. And I walked in the room and just as I was walking in, he was leaving and he was like, good luck. And I was like, what are you? So I stepped into the room and I sang yet again for Miss Jennifer Lawrence, our casting director here, and Mrs. now. Mrs. Jennifer Lawrence, and she was like, all right, I just need to see your tattoo on your back. I need to see if it'll work under the costume. I'll give you a call in a couple months if we have an opening, which I think we should this time around. And then she called me on Valentine's Day of 2020, and I, without hesitation, said yes. And I quit the ship that I was on. I was like, nope, I'm done. Thank you very much. I got to go home. I got to get my life together. I'm going to another country for who knows how long.
Right.
So so now I'm here. I am very happy with the job. I'm very happy with the culture. I'm very happy with, I have little things about that, but I'm very happy all around with everything because I'm well taken care of. I'm well paid. I'm in a show that I love. I'm with people that I enjoy being around. So all in all, I have zero complaints about anything on this side of it, logistically or otherwise.
Wow, that is incredible. I mean, but that's also persistence, because you could have given up on the first try or the second try and say, hey, you know what? If I can't make it the second try, then I'm not going to go after it. But you continued, and you were still focused on, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I want. So I'm going to do whatever it takes, even if it means moving to a whole different country, which that in itself, that's a bold
Oh,
move. And a different culture too. How has that
it
experience
was
been, like in terms of
completely.
changing your environment?
Well, I'm used to the constant shift in where I am.
Okay.
That was the beauty of being on the boat. But the boat had its own sort of culture. And that was, I think, a saving grace because there was no singular identity to anyone. It was all of us sort of abandoning parts of ourselves to come together.
Right.
But then here, it's very strange. It's Hong Kong is special because it was once a British colony and now it's not. But in recent years, now it's trying to be reclaimed by China instead of it letting it be what it is.
Oh, it is.
So there's that front that's being dealt with as an overall sort of thing. But then if you look back far enough in history, Chinese culture has never really been that accepting of how can I say this? Affluent African Americans or affluent Black people. So dark skin is not praised in this culture. Dark skin is shunned. Dark skin is a bad thing. One of the first experiences I had here, I went to go get face wash because I ran out of my wonderful stuff that I got from Walmart. And the lady was like, "Oh, this is really good. This is really good." And I looked at it and it was like, it literally said whitening. And I said, "No, that's not for my teeth. I mean for my face." And she's like, "It is for your face. So make your skin bright and brighter and better." And I said, "Better? No, I need darkening cream." And if that's what you're trying to say, then I'm not, I don't want to be white. I don't want to be light. I want to be my beautiful chocolate self, girl.
Wow.
And it was a concept that they just didn't get. So I literally went like 2 weeks without face wash because I had to buy it from Amazon because that was the only place around here that I could find face wash that works for my skin.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was
your first.
That's like
your
a
first
quick window into
experience.
it. But then beyond that, yes, quite lightning actually. But yeah, it's different. It's a very different way to look at the world. I get stared at all the time. I get very uncomfortable questions. Often the dating life here is a nightmare. I've had a few good experiences, but nothing that lasts. Because usually whenever I meet someone that's on the same page as me, they're leaving the country. And I'm like, oh, well, that was great.
You're just
Thanks.
here for a visit.
Yeah, or they were here for a while. We met and then they're leaving. And I'm like, and so that's that. And it's just different, I should say. It's not bad. I don't feel unsafe. I don't feel like I'm going to be attacked in the streets at any point. I do oftentimes feel like I am a monkey in a cage. Like I'm being stared at for the next thing that I can like do to make someone laugh or sing for us on the spot. I'm like, that's not how this works. I'm not asking you to do my taxes on the spot. I don't ask you to build my house. So sometimes it's like a checking in with myself to make sure that like, Dante, are you comfortable with this? Like, you're being pushed sometimes to not speak out because you don't want to be seen as aggressive or anything like that because there's two layers. Yes, there's two layers to it because I'm an American and a Black. So it's like I can't be too American and I can't be too Black and I can't be too much of a Black American. So like all these things, I'm not Black enough for the African immigrants that are here, and I'm obviously not white for the white immigrants that are here. So we're kind of in our own little special spot, me and the other people of African descent that aren't from Africa.
That is true. I never even thought about that concept, that even if, because there are some African immigrants in Hong Kong, So
A lot.
so their perception even of Black Americans are going to be completely different. Like anyone, you know, any Hong Kong citizen is going to be maybe looking at you through the lens of, oh, he's African, until they learn that no, he's also American, and now it's like a whole different it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to react or
Yes.
interact with you.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, wow.
Once they realize that the black part sheds, and then I'm just attacked for being American.
That's so
It's
funny.
very interesting.
Oh my gosh.
But
So
all
what
but the
are some
one
good
Go
experiences
ahead.
though? What are some positive experiences that you've had?
Well, a positive experience is still a cultural difference, but I love it so much, and that's sharing love. It's something that they don't necessarily always run to show people they don't know. It's actually quite culturally different for Chinese culture to do that. So when I'm on a train and I see a child, I have this wonderful transparent mask now, so I can like smile at the children and things like that, because I'm, like I said before, I'm not used to public transportation at all. So
Okay.
that's a different thing altogether. But now I have this moment to be like, well, maybe I can use this as a thing, you know, like when I'm on the train, I can do that. So I think that's cool. But another thing